Hello, everyone. In series, I've been talking about the life that precipitated for myself and my common-law wife, Rosie, me and Rosie. This is about my life and Rosie's and my life, living on a dirt road 8 miles west of Wheeling, West Virginia. And the people who live around us, there's a lively culture surrounding us. We live in a lovely little shack that we just kind of moved into. We'd lived in Pittsburgh for Rosie most of her life and myself for a couple, difficult, painful, disastrous years. I'll be talking more about why I'm, vominos to West Virginia. Rosie, I think I may have explained, had some trouble in her career. I might have to review, but we're having some trouble. Not that anyone wouldn't be just thrilled to have the life that Rosie and I have. We're not ungrateful. We're thankful in a secular and forgiving sort of way. I'll be talking about my need to forgive a person named Mike during this installment of me and Rosie. I think just for a quick review, the Spuke dynasty, and it just pervades Pittsburgh. There are people, they're all related by blood or marriage. They all, or most of them, have the last name. It's spelled S-P-U-K-E, pronounced Spuke. People, I mention this. Everyone in Pittsburgh knows this. If they aren't a blood relative themselves of some of the Spukes or all of them, they know of the Spukes. People in California or Kansas might probably never come to Pittsburgh. Why the hell would just anyone anywhere? Why would someone in the Philippines or Russia give a rat's ass about the Spuke dynasty in Pittsburgh? It's only relevant to people who are having good times, or, as I had bad times with the Spuke dynasty. Mike Spuke is a problem. Had been. I'm forgiving. It's over now. The trouble I had with Mike Spuke, it's all over. I'm still angry. I admit that. Secular equivalence, I'm admitting that something's wrong with me. I'm a little angry with Mike Spuke, and I'm working double extra hard to forgive Mike for all the damage he did to my career when I was in Pittsburgh. Anyway, there's something else I need to review quickly. Rosie was in some trouble with the law, and we both had to get our ass out of Pittsburgh, and since we are common law, Mr. and Mrs. us, we moved to West Virginia to get out of trouble, or to avoid it, needless to say. I guess I'd mentioned in an earlier installment that Rosie and I have been addicted to hard narcotics since grade school, and this can limit a person's career choices and living arrangements. Shortly after we moved here, a biker gang just showed up like welcome wagon, and they had just robbed a string of pharmacies and hospitals, and they decided to give us a gift. They wanted to welcome us to the neighborhood. They gave us a free gallon of Dilaudid. That's a liquid narcotic. It's addictive. It's rarely prescribed anymore, but me and Rosie have been addicted to narcotics so long we're quite happy to accept almost anything. And a free gallon of Dilaudid, hospital grade, does not come so easily just anywhere. I'm merely mentioning this to impress upon everyone what a heavenly, wonderful place. Didn't some singer say almost heaven, West Virginia? I can't remember the guy's name. Anyway, me and Rosie are stuck in this dirt road shack, and there's some other collateral details. People in this area of West Virginia, they whether they're alive, that's okay. Dead people keep coming back to life and inhabiting. There's all these shacks and shanties and chicken coops, disused meat packaging concerns. People who died years ago have been just moving into these places. Don't get me wrong, please don't take me for a common, stupid, pedestrian consumer. These are not zombies. I'm spiritual. Rosie is spiritual. Timmy Klondike, we're all on a higher spiritual plane than normal people. There are ordinary people who just have they may have common spiritual need or sensibilities. That's fine. I'm not bigoted. Rosie and I are extra normal in our spiritual awareness. And people who are dead, their spirits, their souls, have become friends of ours, personal friends of ours. But I'll be explaining that process. We're on a different plane, and we deal with dead souls, and living people just fine. We're perfectly well adjusted. Mike Spuke. I was going to talk about the problem I had with Mike Spuke and the Spukes. I had been explaining before I digressed. Mike Spuke. Mike was Doris Spuke's sister. Doris is as beloved in Pittsburgh, as are so many people in the Spuke dynasty. Dorothy is a wealthy heiress. She's become a long-term guest down here at the shack with me and Rosie. Rosie, my common-law spouse, is having a love affair with Doris Spuke. She's quite wealthy. We have a supply of narcotics. She's addicted to narcotics. And we love each other. She's a wonderful person. I digressed again. I was going to explain why me and Mike Spuke, Doris's brother, why things went so foul between the two of us. While I was in Pittsburgh, I was not doing terribly well. I had a substance problem. I'd had career problems before I moved to Pittsburgh. That's why I went there. In the first place, I tried to resolve the nagging difficulties I'd been facing my entire life before I'd moved to Pittsburgh, and also during. I took up there was a federally funded jobs program. It seemed like a wonderful idea. I was younger then, stupid. Stupidly, I signed up for one. You get what you paid for, and this program stunk. But I was the program taught a group of us, I'll explain who. It'll be on another episode when I explain who us was. Never mind, societal rejects and failures. These are people in federally funded jobs training. Instructors, administrators, enrollees were rejects of society with many, many difficulties and problems. But that's too much to talk about right now. I went through this idiotic training. What it did was it taught people to install burglar alarms. There was some burglary in the region. Pittsburgh was never really outstandingly famous for excesses of burglary. It always happened. Happens everywhere. Boston was famous for very, big-ticket jewelry thefts. New York, Rhode Island, Cape Cod people do big-ticket jewelry thefts out of people's homes, businesses. Pittsburgh's smaller ticket theft was the thing. So burglar alarms were just not the hot ticket until Mike. Okay, I learned how to install these burglar alarms. We were shown, we had this wonderful asshole instructor. God, he was an idiot. But he knew how to install these burglar alarms. We were all given a Phillips screwdriver, a voltmeter, nice new shiny little one, fits in the breast pocket of your shirt, voltmeter, continuity meter, needle nose pliers, wire cutters. We were given a toolkit that fits in your back pocket, and we were shown. It took an entire year to actually complete this program, federally funded. We were taught how to install burglar alarms using the tools we were given. No sooner was the program finished, at the very end of the program, we had these classrooms. It was a technical school, and I heard over the loudspeaker my name, "Come to the office." I was damn near 30 years old, and called in the office like a 4-year-old. So I come in the office. We had social workers watching us. I'll talk about this shit more. Instructors, city administrators. Anyway, I was called into a meeting room, a little one, and Mike Spuke was there. I was being offered a job, given a job with Mike Spuke's burglar alarm company. He had a business installing, I had just trained to install burglar alarms. A particular brand of burglar alarm. Interestingly, I don't understand this why. For some reason, Mike Spuke was installing, selling the exact type of burglar alarm I had just been taught to install in everybody. Everyone in this federally funded training program was taught to install this type of burglar alarm that Mike Spuke was selling and to people throughout the region and elsewhere. I had a toolkit, and Mike told me I was to drive around in this little company car he let me use. It was, of course, eventually repossessed from me, as if it was my fault. I had the use of a company car for most of a year. What I did was drive a subcompact car with my toolkit and a trunk full of those burglar alarms. My job was to install the burglar alarms that Mike sold to people. Mike would drive around in this gorgeous blue metal flake muscle car. He had great hair, or a wig. I think it was a wig. He wore this fantastic fitted suit. He had steroid muscles. He was short. He came up to my chin. But he was a wall of pure steroid muscle in a fitted suit. I'll give him credit. For a man with his proportions, his suits would fit him perfectly. I couldn't have done it to save my life, and I'd never drive a car like what he was in. But anyway, no, he was all over the place in the muscle car and the burglar alarms. He was selling the burglar alarms. My job was to install them. He'd line up a load of orders. I would drive all over creation in that little subcompact car with my toolkit and install the burglar alarms. I followed instructions, dear friends. I'm not a criminal. Well, I'm addicted to narcotics. I'm not really much. Let's just say I'm not really a career criminal. I don't wish to be a criminal. Well, I was hoping to be an honest burglar alarm installer. A technician was what we're supposedly. Here's the procedure. You line the burglar alarms up on the wood cabinets that people have in their trailers and apartments and homes and farms. You screw it in place with the Phillips screwdriver. There's a button. I still don't understand why this went so badly, because there's a button on the side of each alarm. You press it and hold that button down. There's a diode on the front. It blinks 3 times. That way you know that the burglar alarm is on and is working correctly, because the diode blinks 3 times. Okay, I'm going to cut to the chase on what happened to me. I did that for most of a year. Then the police were up my ass for a solid year, asking me how I knew with this person. Did I break in? No. About 150 fucking times I had to explain I was in West Virginia or somewhere when their miserable trailer business, farm, whatever they had, timeshare unit, was burglar alarm. Basically, every place I installed an alarm, my scumbag friends would burglarize it, knowing as they did that the burglar alarms did nothing. Anyway, I had installed hundreds of burglar alarms that essentially didn't work. And how the fuck was I supposed to know? Mike didn't tell me they don't work. I had no reason to believe they didn't. I believed the shit in the literature. I was a believing person. I believed at the time that these things had some sort of telepathic power that reached the police. It was like as if they had some type of extrasensory perception that reached the police. These days there are, in fact, unit wireless appliances people have that will bring the police to your house. But this was in the very early 1990s, and the alarms that I was trained to install and Mike Spuke was selling were defective. In fact, they were a fraud. I was innocent. It wasn't my fault. No one told me the damn things didn't work. I merely installed hundreds of them. Anyhow, I had some very difficult days ahead of me explaining to detectives, FBI agents, and police, just local police, county police, state police, that where I was when people's homes were burned in trailers. I really got a hassle. The funny thing was people who had no burglar alarms were not burglarized, and people next door with the alarm I installed were burglarized. So my life had been made very bitter, very sour. I'll be talking more on future episodes of Me and Rosie about what happened when dozens of law enforcement people were up my ass yelling at me, accusing me of things, and asking me how this happened. For reasons unknown, Mike Spuke should have gone to jail forever, but they're very rich people. They're rich. They're powerful. There's a gazillion Spuke relatives. Some of them are judges and lawyers. Mike got no Spuke has ever been successfully. I don't think one single Spuke has ever been arrested. Anyway, people associated with the Spukes have been arrested. Let me tell you. And I wasn't arrested. I wasn't jailed. I was harassed by police agencies for months because of what that bastard Mike Spuke did to me. I'm going to forgive Mike. Rosie, my common-law spouse, is having a beautiful, learning and loving affair with Mike's sister Doris Spuke, and she's just beloved all through Pittsburgh. Timmy Klondike and Doris are friends of one another. Timmy had done really well for himself in Pittsburgh. They adore Timmy, the Wheeling, West Virginia. He's not quite a full member. He's a visiting guest musician with the Wheeling Symphonic Society. And my common-law spouse, Rosie, hopes to have sex with Timmy and then extort him to gain her membership in the Symphonic Society. But we'll be talking about her relationship with their violin. She's a violinist. She's a violin student studying with Timmy Klondike. She's planning to fuck his brains out and get herself admitted to the Wheeling, West Virginia Symphony Society. I'm a humanist. I support these goals. I believe in the human spirit. I believe people should self-actualize. If Rosie believes she deserves to be a member of that society, so do I. I'm supporting Rosie. I love having Doris Spuke as a guest of our shack, our shanty on this dirt road. I'm glad Rosie's and she are in this torrid love affair. They're always making love in the next room over, and I can even hear it. And I just don't mind. I shoot up with, I take my daily shots of Dilaudid. Rosie takes hers. Doris, we've been sharing our drugs with Doris. We shoot up together in the morning, and we have a very nice talk. God damn it, we're like a family. Anyway, that's enough for me and Rosie for right now. But look forward for 2 future episodes of Me and Rosie. Thanks for listening.